Hey, what's up guys, Lucas here. If you already watched the installation video, then you heard me. But I wanna say it again because it really means the world to me that you got these brushes. I made them with a lot of love for my personal and professional use, so I cannot wait to see what you guys create with them. In this video, I'm going to show you how I use these brushes. So let's get to it. Hey, what is up guys? Let's go and get started with this demo of the brushes. We're going to go pack by pack from the favorites all the way down to textures. So yeah, let's get started. The first thing that I want to tell you is that I use this size of a canvas when making the brushes. So if you guys want to have the same results or something similar that I have, be sure to use these measurements in your canvas. Okay, so let's get started. Here in the favorites, this one is a collection of my favorite brushes from the rest of the pack, with the exception of these first four, which are some of my bread and butter brushes that I use all the time. LP Creamy Solid, I use it all the time to create basic masks and shapes when I am trying to render things, and I make with the airbrush the shadow of that object. Creamy Airbrush is a nice versatile brush that allows me to have very nice solid edges if I use it small and hard, or I can make it bigger and apply some pressure, and I can use it pretty much like an airbrush, so nice versatile brush. LP Solid, I use it in Photoshop all the time when I'm creating non-organic objects to do lines like these ones, and then I fill the shape and I paint it like the other one. The rest of the brushes we're going to see in the other packs, so let's just go into the next one. The next one is sketching. So let's open this folder in here so you guys can see what I did with the sketching brushes to show you guys what they are capable of. So let's start with the LP2B, a nice, small, sharp sketching brush. If you like to sketch with a 2B, of course, very nice for hatching. You guys can see this example is 2B and this one right here is 2B. So very nice if you like more defined sketches. Then we have the 6B for the people that want a more loose result. This one is my favorite from the sketching pack, and it's pretty much similar to the 2B, except that it has a more loose touch to it, so you can use it very nicely with bigger shapes if you want to have less control and more relaxed results. Also very nice for creating blocks of value and some small shading. Let's go to the next one, and this one is a charcoal pencil. I love to draw with a charcoal in real life, so this one I am super happy how it came out. You can do soft edges if you like this hair, for example. If you put a light touch to it, you can do nice and very sharp edges if you put more pressure to it. It has a soft edge on the backside and a hard edge on the top, so it's great to create form definition and 3D volume. The LP Pastel is kind of an in-between of a sketching brush and a painting brush together. If you use it small, it is great for sketching, and if you use it big, it is very nice to create blocks of value. So you can see the effect in here, how you can use it to do small soft shading, but also you can use it for small details like these eyes and small strands of hair. Then we have the last one. There is the LP Kneaded Eraser that I really like because you can come with light pressure and erase this thing softly without losing the things that you got in the sketching stage, and then come back with another brush and go over the lines that you created before. Let's go to the inking. Here we have a variation of 6 brushes that will cover every necessity for your inking purposes. So we have LP Brush Pen, which is my favorite from the inking pack. Very nice inking brush with soft edges. So if you don't like ultra sharp inking, then this one may be for you. Great control between thick and thin lines. We have a very similar one right here, the LP Old Brush. This is gonna give you the effect of painting with a brush pen that is already kind of running out of ink. So really nice texture, and it feels very traditional. Then we have the Gel Pen, a very fun little brush if you like to sketch with a pen. For example, to do small studies outdoors, real life, things like that. It's gonna feel like you're drawing in your actual sketchbook. Also, as a bonus, it is a great writing brush. The Clean Ink is for the inking perfectionists is going to give you super ultra sharp lines. So if you like a lot of control on your lines and perfect inking, you're going to really like this one. The LP bleeding ink is this one right here. Very fun brush if you like more dirty results. So if you want to be a little bit more playful with your inking, like you're drawing on a napkin or something that cannot absorb all the ink, this one is going to be great for you. Then we have the sharp ink, that is this one right here. That is for the person that cannot decide between the ultra sharp results of the clean ink or a little bit of texture like the old brush. So if you like a middle ground between those two, this one offers you both sharpness and a little bit of texture. Alright, so let's go and jump to the next one, that is one of the most exciting ones, that is the painting. We have several wet brushes and several dry brushes, so let's start with this one actually, the LP Dry Oils. This one is a great brush if you want to have a texture of canvas in your paintings and the feeling of painting dry on dry. Then you can come with an LP Wet Oils and you can start mixing those colors still with some texture on it. If you want to go a little bit more smooth and not have that canvas texture, then you can switch to the smooth acrylics and then really smoothen this thing out. Great to emulate traditional media, these three brushes together. Then we have the LP Dynamic Pastel, which is my favorite brush actually from the whole pack, from the whole pack. The LP Dynamic Pastel, it can be used in two ways. I use it all the time to create hard shapes if I use it with enough pen pressure, but it can also, if you use it light, generate some extremely nice texture for your portraits of whatever you're painting. Seriously, this one is my favorite from the whole pack, so guys, enjoy it. Then we have the LP Rough Pastel, that is very similar to the previous one, but it has a fixed texture and it also has the qualities of the sketching brushes, that it has a very sharp on the top and soft side on the back of the brush. So great for creating 3D volume. The LP Magic Chalk, if you know me from YouTube, then of course you have heard about the LP Magic Chalk. This one is for the people that want a smoother painting, unlike something done with the rough pastel or dynamic pastel. This one doesn't have a texture, so it's great for softer shading. Then we have the LP Folds, and this one is great exactly, well, of course, for creating folds. If you hold your pencil with the tip in this direction, you can create a sharp edge right in the crease of the fold and have a softer transition towards the back. So it's great for creating folds in people, but also on clothes and, well, on anything that folds. So I'm gonna go over this lightly. You can see how it accentuates this fold and it really makes it feel like a crease. You can use it on the eyelids. I use it all the time for this type of things. And of course on parts like under the neck to create the shadow, the sharp shadow under the chin and soft shadow on the neck. LP Hairy. Super fun brush if you want to create fur effects or you just like some bristle and brush work in your paintings. Then we have the two smudges. We have the creamy smudge, which is the one that I use all the time because it gives me, well, exactly that. Very creamy results. Super soft. I use it all the time in my portraits. In every single painting I use the creamy smudge. Or for the people that like a little bit more texture, we have the sponge smudge that gives you some more texture and some more of a traditional look for your painting. Alright, so we are approaching the end and the next category is the portrait. So here we have a series of skin brushes and hair brushes. So I'm gonna show you what they do. So these little demos I did with these brushes and you can see the nice noisy texture that they have to simulate the pores. These ones I did with this right here, the noise small. Great if you want to render but you don't like the digital qualities of the typical airbrush. If you want a little bit more texture than that, we have the noise big. Or if you want a little bit more of a subtle texture, we have this one right here, the skin pores, which is very nice, just for that, for a little bit of detail. We have freckles, that is the ones that you can see on this ball right here. Skin blemishes, is this one right here. Veins. You can use it with different colors to accentuate the feeling that you're looking at veins. Here I use it with a deep purple magenta, and I layered it with some opaque green to give the feeling that they are real veins under the skin. Then we have the stubble and short hair that you can see that I used in here. They point at the direction of your pencil, so you can really control the direction in which the hair grows. Both this one, both the short hair and the stubble, so you can create some variation in your hair. Great not only for people but also for furry animals and things like that. Okay, so now the 3 hair brushes, we have 3 different layers of brushes. We have the thick hair that I use at the start of the process to create the base shape of the hair. Then I come with the thin hair to create, of course, well, the next layer and the thin details of the hair. And then at the end, I come with a single hair and I create the little stranded hairs that float around the main mass of hair. Also great for creating eyebrows and eyelashes. And the last category is the LP textures, a collection of possible things that you will use in your work. We have a texture of dots, we have scratches, that is something that I use all the time for metal textures. You can see how I used it in here to add some wear and tear to this ball. We have rust, that is this one that you see right here, creates a really nice layering of rust. If you want again to create metal things. We have dirt, which is great if you want to do something that has some dirt just, for example, like touching the ground or things like that, or some dirty clothes. Great to add some aging to your paintings. We have different textures that you can use, kind of like an airbrush, corkboard, compressed wood, that you can see how I used it right here. This one is the compressed wood. It's great to add some texture that it doesn't have to be necessarily exactly wood. You can see this one doesn't look like wood, but it has some texture that it just adds interest to the painting. We have cardboard if you want a more graphic approach. We have a couple of canvas dirty and canvas clean to use together with the painting brushes. We have a halftone brush for the people that want to do comics and things like that, and a zigzag brush that is very similar, but for people that want to have a slightly different texture. If any of the texture brushes, or any brush actually, doesn't have the exact scale that you want, you can go to the brush settings, go to the texture, and increase or decrease the scale of that texture, and immediately you will have a completely different result. And finally we have some bricks, tiles, fence, and mosaic I don't know how to say this one, that you can see how I use them in here. Here the tiles, here the bricks, the mosaic, and the fence I didn't use, but it is very similar to the other ones. It adds this repeatable pattern that is just useful because everyone needs these things when we are painting environments or things like that. And the final thing in the LP brush pack is of course the papers, that it is, well, it's one of the best things of the pack, to be honest. You have 10 ultra high definition papers that you can use for, well, for anything that you want. But the reason that I like them so much is because you will never have to stare at a blank canvas again when you're sketching or when you're painting. You can come right here, just drop one of these paper textures on the bottom and start sketching right in here. And that is it. That is the demo of the LP brushes. Sorry if I was hurrying a little bit. I didn't want to take a lot of your time going through every single one of these brushes. But I hope that you enjoy it and that you are eager to start using your new brush pack. That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video and of course for getting the brushes. If you have any questions, please send them to info@lucaspeinador.com. I'm gonna put the email right here. And I really cannot wait to see what you guys create with these brushes. So if you guys want me to see what you create and get a chance to get featured, please put the hashtag on Instagram, LP brushes, and I will check those out. Guys, thank you so much and I'll see you.